Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A, where I answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. This episode's going to be pretty basic, nothing too out of the ordinary. I think I have like 5 questions, and I did get a number of questions that I did happen to answer in the comment section of the last video, so make sure you had your notification bells rung for that. So, before I start answering guys' questions, like always, if you could, if happen to like this video or would like to see more of my content, do not forget to press that thumbs up button and press the subscribe button to keep track of me and my future projects. And starting off with the first question, coming from First Class Hero 2099, and you basically want to know, who do I think progressed better as a character, Chris or Leon? I think Leon progressed more as a character simply because he was a much greener character at the beginning of his journey. If you look at someone like Chris, he really, as a character, didn't need to really do too much development, simply because he was already a Special Forces combatant, and he just transferred over to another that had like a slightly different focus. So I don't really think as a character he necessarily needed to grow so much. Leon, on the other hand, went from like a rookie agent for a basic police department to elevating himself to becoming a government agent that worked directly underneath the command of the President of the United States. That's a hell of an amount of development that he would have to go through. So yeah, I definitely do, and I think that's kind of one of the key reasons that I tend to lean more towards Leon than Chris, but heck, this is my overall opinion. Next question comes from TwillerMan91, and you want to know, you said like 4 questions, so I'll just stick with the first 2. You want to know, do I own a Nintendo Switch, and what's my favorite accessories? No, I do not own a Nintendo Switch, and I don't have any accessories for it because I do not own a Nintendo Switch. I did think about getting a Nintendo Switch because there was like one game that I heard they were going to be re-releasing on the Switch like in a couple of weeks, but then like some time ago I found out that, wait a second, you don't gotta buy the Switch because we're going to be releasing that same game on the PlayStation 4, and that was pretty much it for me. So far I just haven't seen a reason to pick up a Switch. I know how popular it is, I know that a lot of people are enjoying it, but it just doesn't look like something for me. Next question comes from Aul Serna, and you basically want to know, you know I did this match, but this time it'll be different. Who would win? Versus questions. Who do I think would win between Infamous 2 Cole McGrath and Prototype 2 Alex Mercer? Well, Aul Serna, I've got a problem. There's a little bit of a complication because I don't know anything about Alex Mercer in Prototype 2. I've never played it. I don't know what the story is for that game, so it's impossible for me to say who I think would win if I don't know anything about Alex Mercer and Prototype 2. So, yeah, I can't really help you there. The next question comes from the Batman of Neo-Gotham, and you want to know, what's my overall thoughts on questions asking how certain characters would fare if they were in other fictional universes? I don't really like it. I don't really like those type of questions, and the reason being is that certain characters are put in certain worlds and certain franchises for specific reasons because they have been created for that world. The second you start throwing other people in other scenarios, they're now not in their elements, and therefore they're not as effective. Trust me, there's a number of situations that I think certain characters would either be too powerful, or they just don't have the necessary skills, necessary mindset, necessary knowledge to survive in different scenarios. Like, you wouldn't put Mario in Raccoon City. I mean, that'd be a disaster. You wouldn't want to put Kratos in the Halo universe. I mean, that's just not what they do. So when you start doing that, you just get a lot of really confusing questions because this character was just not meant to operate in this different franchises. So there's just no point in thinking much about it. So that's how I overall feel on questions involving taking one character and putting them in another fictional franchise. And the last question of the episode comes from Phantom Sidious, and you want to know, would I like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie to continue with Spider-Man 4, and do I think there's a chance it could ever happen someday? No and no. No. I think we were done after 3. I'd heard that they wanted to do a Spider-Man 4, but the reception for Spider-Man 3 was like so bad that he just didn't want to do another one, and that's perfectly fine. And do I think that they could still do one? No. No, too much time has passed since Spider-Man 3 came out, and there's just no point in going back and trying to bring Tobey Maguire back. I think the closest you might see something like that is, if I remember correctly, Sam Raimi is directing the next Doctor Strange movie, which I'm not even sure if I want to see. But since we're entertaining the idea of using different Spider-Verses because Spider-Verse did it so well, and apparently this one deals with different multi-universe jumping, there might be a possibility that you could see a cameo of like Doctor Strange going into the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe, and then another part that he might go into the Andrew Garfield universe. But that's about as close as I think it should ever go. So yeah, I don't think we'll get a Spider-Man 4, and I don't think it's necessary at this point. So with that, those are pretty much all the questions that were sent to me for this particular episode. I'd like to thank everyone that sent in your questions that I answered in not only in this video, but the comment section of the last video. And if you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But be sure to send them in to me before Wednesday, before noon, because that's usually when I start filming the next episode. So like always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next week.